Do you guys like to hear all about a useless husband and a wife who is bringing her relationship problems to TikTok? Well, look no further because that is what we have got today. I do always say I don't like to interfere with relationships and whatever's going on, but if you bring it to TikTok, I'm nosy, I want to know, and I want to share it with you guys because the spiral of events that has happened with this mum who is sharing her story on TikTok on her and her husband's relationship problems is just it's a real page turner. Quite a few things happened. We are going to start off with right at the very beginning. So I'm not entirely sure what the name of this particular mum is. It just says remote nurse mum. That's all. That's all I'm getting. I'm sure maybe she said her name somewhere, but whoever, whatever. Basically, she comes on, and it all started off with a dog. The dog was actually the main catalyst of her story time. And she comes on and she says that her husband doesn't want her to get a dog, but she's going to get a dog anyway.
We're in a very weird place in our relationship. My husband is literally never home. He got a promotion at work. And I say promotion in quotes because he's not making a significant amount more money, but he's spending a significant amount more time at work. And I've had several conversations with him about the importance of being home. I mean, he doesn't see our toddler at all during the week. He comes home after she goes to bed. So he only sees her on the weekends. And even then sometimes he'll work Saturdays or on Sundays. So I'm moving on. I'm just living my own life. And so I'm getting another dog.
Listen as she's saying that her husband is never around. Not just never around, he's never around for her, never around for their daughter, their toddler. Not only that, but will also just not be around on the weekends. Comes home, their daughter's put to bed at like 7:30 at night, and she's just left hanging around. He doesn't even say goodnight to his daughter, kind of thing. So obviously, red flag central. Something not quite right going on there. Yet he is somehow dictating on whether or not they get another animal. Yet he is never around. And I think in most other cases, yeah, you should speak to your spouse or whoever is living in the house with you on whether or not you bring another animal into it. But judging by even what she's saying about her husband, like, how would he even notice anyway? Also, the fact that he got a new job, right? He's got a new job that is not making him any more money. It's a leadership role. It's not making him any more money, yet he's spending more time in the office. Less time away from the home with their child, more time in the office for less pay. And not only that, but she works as well. Yet she's the one paying for daycare costs, and also they basically split 50-50 even though he earns more than her, yet he expects her to pay for the groceries and also pay for the childcare. And once again, I do think that in normal circumstances 50-50 would be like, yeah, 50-50 right on. Now, she gives him an ultimatum. She says to him, right, we've got this vacation, we've got this trip coming up, okay? So either you come on this trip or that's it. As in, divorce bells are a ringing.
He's choosing not to spend time with us for whatever reason. He's choosing to continue to keep this leadership job when he could just step back and go into his old role and make just as much, if not more money, working less hours and spending more time with us. So it's his personal choice. For whatever reason he's making it for, it's unacceptable. To give him an ultimatum if he did not come to Pigeon Forge with us this weekend, because he said, "Oh, wouldn't even ask to get off work on Friday to leave with us to go to Pigeon Forge with one of our friends and their families." And I said, "Okay, if you don't come, that's it. That's my last straw."
He did actually come on this trip, but he essentially just ignored the mum the whole time, but did spend time with their daughter. Not only that, but he also protested when she said, yeah, you need to leave work a little bit earlier, and he was not very happy with that. Bear this in mind, he eats, sleeps, lives, breathes work. That's not earning him any more money and is also taking time away from the kid. You can see where this is going. Now, she tells a story, right? Miss Nurse Mum is telling a story that she had to go to a baby shower, okay? And the husband pipes up and says, Okay, if I'm child minding, which I bet you anything that is exactly what he thinks of it as. He thinks of it as like daycare, like free daycare if he has to look after the child. Anyway, so he's doing this and that. He asks for the car seat. Why do you not have a car seat in your car? To then take their daughter to a park. He decides to take her to a park that is 40 minutes away.
Look on his location, and he ends up taking her to a park that's like 40 minutes away. And I'm like, who tries to toddler 40 minutes to go to the park? So I'm like, who is he meeting there? Like, I feel like he has to be meeting something because she doesn't even like the car that much. Like, that's a lot of work for him. So I asked him when he got home, and I was like, oh, what made you choose that park? And he's like, oh, Google just said it had good reviews. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, how would that even come up on your Google? There's like 52 parks in between our house and that park. Like, I don't even see how that would come up on his Google. So anyways, the whole thing was super sus. So I know you guys are like a bajillion% that my husband's cheating on me. And I'm not saying that he's not. What I will say, just because obviously I do know him, we've been together for 13 years, is that there's also part of me that's like, he actually would go on and Google reviews for a park. Because how would he know? Because he never takes her anywhere. I've been on his ass to start being more active in her life. Like, don't make me make you take her to the park, or don't make me go and get her a new cool toy at the store on behalf of you. Because yes, I did actually buy his Valentine's gift to her.
Now, yes, she is saying, well, she's always badgering him to spend more time with her, so he wanted to do this alone. I would have thought that you'd want to spend time as a family rather than just it being an isolated event. Also, something is not adding up because why are you going to a park that's that far away? And I know what a lot of you are thinking, and yes, a lot of other people are thinking exactly as well. So yeah, he is secretive about his phone. He brings his phone into the shower with him. He's always very cagey about it. And she then later on admits that yes, he has been caught cheating in the past. So she then goes and confronts him because bear this in mind, everyone on TikTok is saying, this is weird. Why doesn't he want to spend time with you? Why did he drive 40 minutes to a park? Like, this guy sounds like he doesn't even like you, but he's married to you. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So she then confronts him about it. He says that, yes, I have been mentally checked out of this relationship for the past year.
So the update you guys have been waiting for, we did talk last night. He was mad about the dog because you guys know this whole thing started when I just posted about I was gonna get another dog. That's not even like the biggest thing right now. It's that do you even want to be in this marriage? Because like I appreciate you being good with the baby all weekend, but you really haven't tried to like make any effort with me. And he admitted that he's been checked out of our marriage for the past year, since last October, when instead of me planning something special for our anniversary, I planned a family trip to Florida, which is my parents live there, so it would have been that we were staying for them, but it's free and they live on the beach, so why wouldn't I? And they'll leave us alone if I tell them to. It's like, it's not a serious of a deal. Like, I thought it was nice. We didn't even end up going. There was a hurricane. And just feels like all he is to me is a sperm donor and a bank account, which I find to be wild, because it wasn't up until a couple months ago that I finally asked him to start contributing to some of the costs of like daycare and baby activities like swim and stuff. And then he refused to pay for daycare this week. So I scraped together some pennies and paid him. He basically told me everything was didn't take any responsibility or accountability for anything. I also offered him to do counseling, and he declined.
He then goes and backtracks on that statement, claiming, I didn't mean what I said. I have, it's not like I have been checked out for the past year. All this kind of stuff. What I personally think is that this guy is using her as a daycare service, is using her finances, is using the fact that, you know, she cooks, she cleans, she does all this kind of stuff. It's convenient for him. If he were to be a solo parent and they were to separate, he could either take the absolute pig way out and just not be involved with his child anymore, not involved with the child's life, or he could step up and be a part of the child's life, which would mean having to do everything by himself when he has the child. To me, it seems like he's using her for the emotional and physical labour. Now, it all comes to a bit of a head because we then discover that he was, in fact, in an emotional relationship with this woman from work for about a year, maybe over a year. This was a few years ago.
Is it cheating if your spouse talks to somebody else? I think this is one of the biggest reasons that me and my husband have not seen eye to eye for the past 6 or 7 years, because I don't think I ever fully forgave him for talking to somebody else, and he feels like he didn't really cheat because it was just talking. But when I say talking, I don't mean like a couple of texts. Like, I mean, for pretty much a year straight, like the second that he left the house in the morning, he called her and they stayed on the phone all day long while he was at work till the second that he got home that night. And he would ignore my phone calls because he was on the phone with her. I thought something was wrong. I asked him several times, are you talking to somebody? Are you talking to somebody? He lied and said, no, he wasn't. It wasn't until I just was like, I know something's going on. Like, I knew it in my gut. And I looked at his call logs.
She's stating, you know, I never got over that. You know, I have a deep resentment, all this kind of stuff. I mean, no, I wouldn't get over that because she's even asking TikTok, like, is this an emotional affair? Is this normal? No, it's not normal. No, definitely not normal. She does try and justify it kind of later down the line, saying, well, you know, she's an older woman and she doesn't really get out that much, and, you know, he told me that it was nothing physical and all of this. And it's like, okay, well, maybe, I don't know if I believe that or not, but whether it be like physical or not, no one communicates with someone for like 10 hours every single day and it not have some sort of relationship there. That's emotional cheating. And I think she has just brushed it and she's just sort of trooped on and just gone on with it. But she's never really let it go. I wouldn't let it go. I've ended relationships for much less. So, no. Now, the kicker is, the page turner is that same woman, okay, that same woman works with him now. And they have been working together for over a year.
Bombshell, you guys. So one of our mutual friends just saw my last TikTok about how my husband was talking to that girl for over a year, and she worked with them at the time. Well, not at the time, but had previously worked with them, so she knew of both of them. And she was texting me about it, and she was like, did you know they work together now? And I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah, for like at least a year, like, because the whole thing was my husband left and got another job, and that's why I was always like, fine, I'll move on, like, you know, you don't work together anymore. She's been working at his job where he works now for at least a year, is what I just found out.
Yeah, they've been working together. So when the mum is saying, hey, yeah, you know, for like a past year, he had a promotion, you know, he got a new job, all this, like he's never away. They've been working together for like a year and a half, 2 years, apparently. So at this point, you can't get any more red flags unless they swooshed you in the face, okay? There is just no way that they are not having some sort of a thing. That there is just no way. And also, he had not come forward to tell her. And just to back up what I've been saying about, you know, him just kind of being there and wanting her to do the emotional and physical labor of just their life back at home. Him, I think he's choosing an easy way of living rather than making it harder for himself. And I honestly do believe, because I've only ever been with men in romantic relationships, so I can only speak from my own experience, but from my own experience, men will very easily just sort of like accept this role of wanting to be in charge of things, but then not actually wanting to input any emotional physical labor into the day to day, but they want to be seen as like the head of the house. So she's given off examples of, on their wedding for instance, she would come to him brainstorming all these different ideas. He wouldn't help, he wouldn't plan, he wouldn't research, he wouldn't do any of that. Yet he got the final say on what things were. And she does say that if it wasn't for her, they would still be living in like a 1-bedroom rundown apartment. Okay, so she's very much running the ship, but he's the one making the final decisions. It's honestly infuriating. And then to think that this whole entire time he was lying about the fact that he was not still working with that co-worker, but he's got this job where he's earning less money, working more hours with that co-worker. Sad thing is that the mum is still not willing to perhaps accept the fact that he is still cheating on her, which is what I genuinely think, and pretty much most of the people genuinely think as well. Now she actually confronts him, and he does the typical. You'll never guess what his response was. It was, "I just didn't want to upset you." That's the response.
I obviously asked him about it, and he said he didn't tell me because he knew I would be upset. I was like, well, what do you think I am now from finding it out from somebody else and not from you? Like, not only am I upset, but you lied to me, and I'm additionally embarrassed on top of it because I had to find out from somebody that we know rather than find out from you. And I don't know, he just said that, he asked me to try to go to counseling, and so I had agreed to that already, but I just, I don't know what to do. I mean, I know what I want to do. I'm seeing a life coach tomorrow to try to get me to come to terms with everything and just choose myself. I find it so difficult to just choose myself because that's kind of what I've been mad at him about for so long, is just choosing himself all the time. And my mom gives terrible advice, and she's like, oh, this is the person you married, your vows, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, at what point in time is the disrespect just too much?
Of course, he then agrees to go and do couples counselling to save the marriage, because apparently he's now wanting to save the marriage. And I honestly do think that a large majority of it is because she mentions that she has actually had to cut her mum off in the past week because her mum, according to her, is a very toxic woman, and she was actually blaming the wife, saying, you're the reason why the marriage is breaking down, like saying some real toxic stuff. So just from that little snapshot into what she's saying about her mum, I can only imagine that she probably doesn't want to give up on this because she doesn't want to be deemed a failure by her parents. Yet pretty much 95% of the comments are saying, run away from this man. The thing, so I've never been married, so maybe my commentary is not needed in this sphere, but I have been in very long-term relationships, and I do have kids, and with their dad I was in a relationship with him for like 8 years or something, so I do have an understanding of being in long-term relationships with kids. I do have that, just not with the marriage, which actually in hindsight was a blessing in disguise, because then you would have had to file for divorce, and divorces are really messy. Some people were like, no, you've really got to fight for your marriage, you've really got to, you've got to do this. But the thing is, right, is that once you break trust, what else do you have? If you've got trust, you can work on it. He's betrayed her trust, well, technically more than twice, because he's been breaking her trust consecutively for like a year and a half. I know it's not a funny situation, but it's just so sad when he put it all down. And she's still willing to give him, I don't know if it's a second chance or not, but she's saying, I didn't want to lose my husband and my mum in the same week. He said he checked out like a bit, and now he's panicking because he's like, shit, am I going to be a solo dad having to do solo dad responsibilities, or am I going to be a deadbeat dad?
My husband and I have our first counseling session tonight, and I know a lot of you are like, why are you even doing the counseling? Just drop him. And I've decided that I cannot cut off my mom and my husband at the same time. This is too emotionally exhausting for me. And my mom is somebody I probably should have cut out of my life like decades ago. And my husband is willing to and wanting to try to get better.
So she goes on to say that they had their very first therapy appointment. And this like couples counselling thing didn't go very well because she's saying that they split bills 50-50, but she's paying for like the household stuff and also their daughter, so it's not actually 50-50 at all. She's also saying that he has made some good changes this week because he came home early one night and he picked up some bath things for their daughter, which meant that he saw that they were running low and then went to Walmart to buy some. And I'm thinking the bar is in hell.
You know, he did come home early once last week from work, and he didn't work over the weekend, and he actually took notice that our daughter's bath products were running out and stopped at Walmart last night to pick more up and asked if I needed anything else. So, I mean, he's doing small things to show me he's trying to help out more, and we're going to do the counseling and things like that. So I'm going to try to see if we can improve things, all in the name of having enough space to just like focus on cutting my mom out, setting those boundaries, and then putting positive effort into improving our relationship. So we'll see how it goes.
Not the only one. I'm going to read off some little comments. So someone said, the bar is just so low, it's so sad. Someone else said, it's going to be short-lived. He'll turn back into who he was before if you decide to stay with him. Someone else said, you could never trust him again. Without trust, there's nothing. Someone else said, just keep in mind that the biggest betrayal is always infidelity. A lot of people are now pointing the finger at, like, is this satire? Like, no one can genuinely believe that this situation is still happening, because it seems like she is still hoping or wanting to be in this situation. And I don't know. There's only so much people can say.
I want to clarify something. A lot of people are in the comments like, this man's actively cheating on you, and he's not. Yes, he did have an emotional relationship with a coworker that he denies. He said it was a friendship, but it was an emotional relationship with a female coworker that was 7 to 8 years ago. Yes, they are working together now. I did not know that. I found out from another party recently, but I did check the call logs. They are not in contact again, at least not to that extent. I mean, they have to talk for work, but it's like a minute here, a minute there. So it's clearly about work stuff. He is not actively cheating on me. It never was physical, according to him. And I truly believe that. I do believe it was all emotional. It was not physical, which again, I kind of think is worse. But again, that was a long time ago. It is not persisting now.
I do feel like as soon as you bring relationship troubles to social media, you can't go back from it. You know, like if you're ever having problems with a friend, or you're having problems with an ex or a boyfriend or whoever it is, if you go and tell one of your friends or your parents about it, the minute that you tell someone else, it's then going to change their perception on that boyfriend or that friend or whoever. And it'll always be in the back of their mind. It's like, well, you said that they did this, so why are you doing this? Okay, well, imagine that, but on like a great big scale. Like a great big scale, like TikTok social media scale. So I'm surprised maybe the husband has seen these TikToks, maybe not. But I think some things, if this is helping people, because I think this is actually helping a few people realize that what they're going through with their husbands or their partners isn't right and changing it, that's fantastic. I do honestly think that in that way, sharing is caring, and it's obviously helping people. However, as soon as you bring stuff to social media, that is it. Also, there is always two sides to every story. I do feel like I need to reiterate that. There is two sides to every single story. However, I can only go off this side because I don't have another side, which is the problem. It's like you want to hear the other side's point of view, but then you also don't want to diminish what they're saying, what the person is saying. So there is always two sides to every single story, all right? There is. However, this is what we've heard so far, and I would be interested to know if she decides to stay with him or if she decides to not to stay with him. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.